They say a man becomes a father by choice, not blood. That's what I told myself when I married Ashley. She came with 2 kids. Trevor was 14, Jenna 12, and a suitcase full of silent expectations no one ever unpacked. Their real father, Joel, was still a name on a birth certificate, a voice on speakerphone every 3rd weekend, a ghost who blew through holidays with gifts and excuses. He got to be the myth. I got to be the scaffolding. I didn't try to be their dad. I wasn't foolish. I tried to be solid, present, a quiet, constant force that filled in the gaps Joel left gaping. I showed up, paid the bills, drove them to school, helped with homework, covered for forgotten lunches, late permission slips, braces, birthdays. Every detail they ignored, I carried it. But still, always I was the outsider. Not by accident. By design. The day it cracked was a Tuesday. Phoenix summer. Heat like punishment. The kind that makes everything feel personal. The house stank of neglect. Dishes bloomed with flies in the sink. Couch cushions spilled onto the floor like an animal had torn through. Someone had spilled soda across the rug. No one cleaned it up. I stood in the center of it all, the wreckage of a home I paid for, and asked, "Who's going to clean this?" Trevor didn't even look at me. He walked past, muttering, "You're not the boss here." 7 words. Flat. Unbothered. A verdict, not an insult. That was what made it worse. Jenna giggled. Not cruelly, just reflexively, the way kids mirror power. Ashley was upstairs, pretending not to hear. That was her specialty. I didn't respond. Didn't argue. I nodded once. That was all. I remembered. A decision clicked into place. Not loud. Not angry. Final. That night, I lay next to Ashley, her back to me, blue glow from her phone lighting her cheek. She didn't ask how I was. Didn't mention the mess. Didn't care to notice the silence had changed shape. I stared at the ceiling and thought about everything I did that no one saw. Every late-night emergency grocery run. Every extra shift I took to keep them in shoes that fit. Every time I said yes when Joel was too busy, too broke, too gone. And for what? The next day I stopped. Stopped asking who left dishes in the sink. Stopped pointing out garbage that needed taking out. Stopped restocking the fridge. I canceled the grocery delivery. Let the Wi-Fi lapse. I removed my card from the kids' phone accounts. No more reminders about school projects. No more shuttling them around when they couldn't be bothered to say thanks. I stopped managing their chaos. Because if I wasn't the boss here, I wasn't the janitor either. Took 2 days before Jenna noticed. She opened the fridge and frowned. "Where's the yogurt?" I looked up from my coffee. Must have run out. No follow-up. She closed the door like she wasn't sure what had just happened. Trevor found me the next morning. "The Wi-Fi's out." I nodded. He blinked. "Can you reset the router?" "No." His eyes narrowed. "Why not?" "You said I'm not the boss here. Guess I'm not the tech support either." He didn't respond. Just left. I heard him whispering with Jenna down the hall. Saturday, I spent 4 hours fixing the backyard fence in 95 degrees. No one asked where I was. No one offered water. When I came in, Jenna was eating cereal straight from the box. Trevor was playing a game on his phone using cellular data. Ashley was folding laundry like the walls weren't collapsing. Still, no one asked me anything. By the next week, the garbage smelled like death. Sticky floors, empty fridge, dull silence. I stayed silent too. Jenna left a note on the counter. "We need food." I wrote back on the same scrap of paper. "We." Monday morning, Trevor banged through the kitchen. "Why hasn't my phone bill gone through?" I got a warning text. "Check with your provider," I said. "I thought you set it up?" "I canceled it." "You didn't even tell me. You said I'm not in charge. Why would I manage your phone plan?" His mouth opened, then closed. He left. That night, Ashley finally broke. She stood in the doorway of the garage while I was oiling an old wrench. "What's going on with you?" I kept my eyes on the tools. "Nothing. You're acting like you don't care about this family." "I do care. That's the problem. I cared too much for people who only noticed me when I wasn't doing enough." She crossed her arms. They're kids. You're the adult. I know. That's why I stopped arguing with them. I'm not here to beg for respect. You're punishing them. No. I'm stepping back. You all made it clear I was never really part of this. I was just useful. Silence. She didn't deny it. The days kept passing. Jenna started asking Ashley to drive her to school. Trevor borrowed money from friends. They both started getting more agitated, more confused, like the world was glitching. It wasn't. It was just running without me. Dinner went uncooked. Rooms stayed filthy. The car sat with an empty tank because I stopped filling it. They asked Joel for help. He sent a $50 Venmo. That was it. One evening, I came home to Ashley in the living room. Alone. Her eyes red. She didn't speak. Just looked at me like maybe she was starting to understand something she'd spent years avoiding. Trevor passed me in the hallway. He didn't say anything. I didn't either. Because this was the contract they wrote. I wasn't the boss. So I stopped acting like the employee. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need revenge. I just removed myself from the machinery they all took for granted. They were still waiting for me to snap back into place. To start fixing again. But I had no more tape. No more glue. No more interest in saving a family that saw me as spare parts. I was done playing the role they refused to recognize. Done cleaning up the messes made by ghosts. And for the first time in years, I slept through the night. Took about 6 weeks. 6 weeks of silence. Of empty milk jugs left in the fridge like it was someone else's problem. Of Trevor microwaving frozen burritos every night. Of Jenna pretending she didn't notice the smell of rotting trash in the summer heat. Of Ashley retreating into work and wine and pretending the house was just going through a rough patch. And then the mailbox snapped it all in half. Ashley brought the envelope in. White, thick, red ink on the front. I was on the porch, fixing a hinge that no one asked me to fix. She stood in the doorway, held the letter like it was radioactive. Mike! I looked up. Her face was pale. She handed it to me. It's a second notice. I took it. Read the words. Overdue rent. Final warning. I raised an eyebrow. Thought that was on autopay? It is. It was. I don't understand. I shrugged. The account's in your name. Maybe call the landlord. Her mouth opened, then closed. She didn't ask what I'd done. She already knew. 3 weeks earlier, I'd moved my paycheck into a private account. I'd left hers untouched. Let the joint account wither. Let the responsibilities float back to the people who had always assumed someone else would carry them. Trevor noticed first. Why are we getting eviction notices? I looked at him. Calm. Even. Ask the man you say really matters. He blinked. What? Ask your dad. It was the first time I'd said it out loud. He stared at me like I'd broken some sacred rule. You can't just. I can, I said. And I did. He stormed upstairs. An hour later, I heard the phone call through the vents. Thin drywall, voices bouncing off silence. Dad? Yeah, it's me. I need help. No, it's serious. Like, we might lose the house. No, I'm not joking. What? Are you serious? You're not even going to try? Pause. Fine. Whatever. Forget it. Click. I didn't move from the kitchen table. Just sipped my tea. Next morning, another envelope. This one with a sheriff's seal. A formal notice to vacate. 30 days. Ashley sat at the table staring at it like it spoke a language she couldn't read. We could talk to the bank, she said softly. You could, I answered. It's your name on the lease. Her face twisted. Mike, come on. This isn't just about you and the kids. This is our home. I looked at her. Really looked. Our home. She looked away. Tell me, I said. When Trevor said I wasn't the boss here, did you disagree? Even once? She didn't respond. Did you tell them I had a right to expect respect? To expect basic decency? Or did you just let it slide? Still silence. That's what I thought. I stood and left the room. Let her sit with it. Trevor didn't speak to me for days. Jenna avoided me like I was a ghost. Not out of fear, out of confusion. Their world had rules, and I'd rewritten them without warning. They weren't angry yet. They were still waiting for me to crack. Still waiting for the old Mike to come back. The man who refilled the fridge. Who left cash on the counter for field trips. Who filled the silence with solutions. But I didn't flinch. Because I'd finally understood something. You don't owe loyalty to people who see your presence as a favor, not a foundation. Ashley called Joel that Sunday. I watched from the hallway. She paced the living room, voice hushed and tense. Yes, it's serious. No, this isn't his fault. They're your kids, Joel. No, I can't cover everything alone. I didn't call to argue. I called because they need help. More silence. Her shoulders sagged. Then what do you suggest? She snapped. Pause. Her voice dropped. Broken. Right? Of course. You're going through a tough time. She hung up. Trevor asked her how it went. He said he'd try. She lied. I said nothing. Because I knew that phrase. I'd heard it for years. He'll try. Like trying paid rent. Like effort-filled pantries. Like promises ever turned into groceries. The following week, Trevor knocked on the garage door. I was at my workbench, replacing a rusted hinge. Mike! I didn't look up. Yeah. He hesitated. I know we've had issues, but this is serious. I waited. I talked to Dad. He says he's broke. Says he can't help. But maybe we could work something out? I looked at him. You told me I wasn't your dad. Remember? His face flushed. That was just a sentence. I said. One sentence. That's all it took. Silence. I've spent 5 years picking up after you. Paying. Driving. Fixing. Listening. And you drew the line. Said I wasn't the boss. Said I wasn't your father. He shifted. But you've always helped before. I did. That was my mistake. He didn't know what to say. I handed him the rusted hinge. This is what I've been to you. Useful until broken. Now you can throw it away. He left. Jenna tried next. Mike, can I talk to you? Sure. I didn't mean it. That day, when I laughed, it wasn't personal. I nodded. Okay. She sat beside me on the porch. Are we really getting kicked out? I said nothing. Can't you fix it? Would you ask your real dad to fix it? She looked down. He won't. Then maybe he was never the real one. Tears welled up. But I didn't reach for her. Because I wasn't their savior anymore. Ashley confronted me that night. Rage masked as desperation. You're just trying to punish them. You're enjoying this. I stared at her. Do you think I wanted this? Do you think I enjoy watching them realize who actually held this house together? She crossed her arms. They're kids. They're going to say stupid things. They're not stupid. They're teenagers. Old enough to know the power of words. And you let them use those words like knives. You stood there, silent, every time. I didn't know what to say. You could have said I mattered. Silence. She looked like she might cry. I didn't care. Joel's broke, she whispered. I know. What are we supposed to do? Figure it out. Like I did. You're abandoning us. No, I said. I'm letting go. There's a difference. The eviction deadline loomed. Boxes started appearing. Jenna cried as she packed. Trevor said nothing. Just moved around like a man on parole. Ashley stopped trying to talk. Joel never called back. And I sat on the porch every night with a cup of tea, watching the sun fall behind the mountains, the house I built collapsing behind me. They thought I was punishing them. They thought I was being cruel. But it wasn't cruelty. It was consequence. And consequence doesn't care how sorry you are. It just arrives. Quiet and certain. Like a letter in the mail. They didn't believe it was happening. Not really. Not even when the utilities were cut off one by one. First the internet. Then the cable. Then water pressure dropped and the lights started flickering like the house itself was choking. Still they waited. Still they assumed I'd cave. Trevor was the first to speak the accusation out loud. You're just doing this to punish us. He said it over the sound of Jenna crying in the kitchen. One of her friends had offered to let her stay over for a few nights. She didn't want to go. Not because she loved the house, but because she didn't know how to pack for exile. I didn't argue with him, because what's the point in debating the truth with people who only recognize it when it burns their hands? You're trying to prove something, Trevor said. That we need you. I sipped my tea. It had gone cold. You do need me. That's not the part I'm proving. Ashley stepped in. Mike, enough. This isn't teaching anyone anything. This cruelty. Cruelty, I echoed. You think that's what this is? She didn't respond, so I gave her the list. Calm, measured. I paid your rent, covered your food, bought every Christmas present, paid their phone plans, car insurance, gas, Wi-Fi, school supplies, trips, fees, groceries, birthday parties, repairs, medical bills, clothes. I let the words land, all without complaint, without thanks. And the moment I asked for respect, I got laughter. I got silence. Jenna whispered, I didn't mean it. Trevor just shook his head. This is all ego. No, I said. This is economics. I stopped financing a lie. They didn't get it. Not until the sheriff's deputy arrived. It was late afternoon. The sun spilled across the driveway like warning tape. The deputy posted the final notice on the door with clinical detachment. 36 hours to vacate. No appeals. No negotiations. Just finality. Jenna sobbed. Trevor went pale. Ashley looked at me like I had lit a match and dropped it into the middle of the living room. And I sat on the porch, drank my tea, watched the deputy drive away. No one spoke for a long time. That night, Jenna came to my door. Mike, she said softly. Can I stay here? After. I don't want to go with Trevor and Mom. I looked at her. She looked so small, suddenly stripped of the superiority she used to wear like perfume. Why? I asked. Because you're the only one who ever actually stayed. I nodded. And what did I get for that? Her lips trembled. I didn't mean it. That day, when I laughed. But you laughed. I was scared. No, I said. You were comfortable. She started crying again. I can't go live with Dad. He doesn't even answer texts. Then ask your mom. She just wants to fix it. Make it like before. I looked her in the eye. There is no before. And I closed the door. Trevor didn't cry. He got angrier. Started pacing the halls, slamming drawers, stomping. He wanted a fight. Needed someone to tell him he was right, that this was unfair. I didn't give it to him. He stopped me in the hallway. You're a coward, he spat. No, I said. I just stopped lying to myself. You're abandoning your family. No, I said. You made it clear I wasn't your family. He recoiled like I'd struck him. Jenna's a kid. She's old enough to know what respect looks like. She said sorry. Too late, I said. He stormed off. Ashley confronted me in the bedroom. Mike, please, just help us get through this. We'll figure it out after. There is no after, I said. What are you saying? I'm saying this house is a mirror, and you've all seen yourselves now. I didn't do anything. You did nothing. That's the problem. She started crying, and I didn't care, because her tears were currency she'd saved for too long. And now they were worthless. The next day, bags started stacking by the door. Trevor tried to carry too much at once. Jenna sat in the car, hugging her knees. Ashley avoided my eyes. The SUV pulled up late. Joel, Biodad, Savior on 4 bald tires and a check engine light. He got out, looked around at the bags, at the peeling paint, the dying yard, the ghost of the life I'd held together with my bare hands. He didn't say anything to me. I didn't speak to him. He wasn't worth the words. Trevor loaded the car in silence. Jenna wiped her eyes. Ashley hovered, waiting for something. An apology, a farewell, a crack in my armor. I gave her nothing. Joel climbed back into the car. The engine wheezed. The door creaked. Ashley lingered. I didn't know it had gotten this bad, she said. You didn't want to know. We were ungrateful. I nodded. She opened her mouth to say more, but Joel honked. She left. The car disappeared down the street, and the house was quiet again. I didn't pack, didn't run. I stayed, because I'd been the one holding it all up. And now that the weight was gone, the air felt clean. That night, I slept with the windows open, listened to nothing, because finally, the chaos wasn't mine to fix. I wasn't angry. I know that's what they think, that all of this was revenge, that I did it to make a point, to punish them, to burn everything down because I couldn't stand not being adored. But that's not it. I'm not angry. I'm just not a volunteer anymore. There's a difference. Anger is what you feel when something unexpected happens, when you're betrayed by surprise. But nothing about this surprised me. Not Ashley's silence. Not Trevor's contempt. Not Jenna's laughter that day in the living room. I'd been training for this moment for 5 years. I just didn't realize the class was in session. The truth is, I had been laying down bricks in my own coffin. One act of service at a time. One overlooked insult. One more late bill I covered without being asked. One more school event I showed up for while Joel posted vacation photos from Cancun. I wasn't their dad, I was their life support system. And the thing about life support is that nobody appreciates it until the plug gets pulled. After they left, the house felt like a museum. Their rooms still held the outlines of them. Posters curling off the walls. Scuffed baseboards. Forgotten socks in corners. It should have felt hollow. Instead, it felt clean. No music thumping behind closed doors. No shoes kicked across the hallway. No half-empty cereal boxes shoved back into the pantry. Just the sound of the ceiling fan, the soft creak of floorboards, and peace. Not happiness. Not joy. Peace. I threw out the junk they left behind. Trevor's broken gaming headset. Jenna's dried-out nail polish. A drawer full of expired school forms. Ashley's old wine glasses. Felt like exorcism. Neighbors asked questions, of course. Suburban curiosity is dressed in concern. Everything okay, Mike? Yeah. House just got lighter. You need anything? No. I'm good. And I was, because for the first time in years, I wasn't bleeding invisible. You don't realize how heavy resentment is until you set it down. Bills were smaller now. Food lasted longer. I turned the guest room into a workspace. Fixed the squeaky stairs. Reorganized the garage. I took back the pieces of the house I had given away, one compromise at a time. I didn't hear from them for a while. 3 weeks. Then a text from Jenna. Can I come stay for a bit? Dad's place is too crowded. No apology. No acknowledgement of what had happened. Just a request like I was a hotel. Like she had a key. I didn't respond. The next day, a call from Trevor. Straight to voicemail. Hey, I know things got weird, but I was wondering if I could borrow the car for a job interview. Again, no apology. No reflection. Just a reach for the same hand they used to slap. I blocked the number. Ashley called next. I picked up. Mike, she said. Can we talk? We're talking. She sighed. The kids. They didn't mean it. They meant it enough to say it. They were just angry. No. They were comfortable. Silence. They miss you, she said finally. No. They miss what I did for them. You're being cruel. No. I'm being consistent. More silence. You think you're proving a point, she said. But all you're doing is closing doors. I didn't close them. They slammed them in my face. I just locked them after. You're punishing them. No. I'm protecting myself. She started crying. I didn't say anything. Just held the phone, waited. Then she whispered it. I should have defended you. That day. I let the words sit. I wanted to, she said. But I thought if I did, they'd hate me. They hated me anyway. I know. I ended the call without another word. Because sometimes, I know comes too late. And sometimes, the silence after a betrayal is the only honest thing left between people. I got a letter a week later. Handwritten. From Jenna. Apologizing. Sort of. She said she didn't understand how much I did until it stopped. Said things at Dad's house weren't great. Said she missed me. Missed my pancakes on Sunday. Missed feeling safe. She asked if I could forgive her. I folded the letter. Placed it in a drawer. Didn't answer. Because forgiveness isn't free. And mine had been spent years ago. The last communication came from Joel. An email. Subject line. Let's talk. 3 sentences. I know we've had our differences. But the kids are struggling. Maybe we can work something out man to man. I stared at the screen for a long time. And then I deleted it. There's nothing to work out with a man who outsourced his failures to someone else for 5 years. They wanted me to carry the weight. They just didn't want to see my back breaking. Now they can carry each other. I hear from mutual friends that Trevor didn't get the job. That Jenna dropped out of her extracurriculars. That Ashley's working extra shifts. And me? I go to work. I come home. I cook for one. I read. I sleep. I breathe. Easy. Uninterrupted. Unapologetic. Sometimes, late at night, I walk through the house and pause at their old doors. I don't open them. Just stand there, hand on the knob, remembering the sounds, the chaos, the noise of a family that never really let me in. And I don't feel regret. I feel relief. Not because they're gone, but because I finally am. Gone from the role of the unpaid caretaker. Gone from the lie that sacrifice would earn respect. Gone from the illusion that showing up was enough. They wanted freedom. They got it. So now I ask you, was I wrong? Was it cruel to finally say no? To step back? To let their choices lead them to their consequences? Or was it the only way left to teach a lesson I should have never had to teach? Respect is not a gift. It is the bare minimum. And once you're told you don't matter, the most moral thing you can do is believe them. Tell me, would you have endured it? Or would you have walked too?